Welcome all to the third episode of the Smartship Podcast, a series of discussions about Smartship, a European funded project developing a multi-layer optimization platform towards energy efficient fuel consumption and emission management of vessels. The project combines data analytics, decision support, and circular economy for a holistic approach to the future of navigation. Today, we have the pleasure to host two guests from two consortium partners, Jakub Rola from Bluesoft Poland and Mark Bonesuntas from Epsilon Group. Our first guest today is Jakub Rola. Jakub is an IT specialist working at Bluesoft Warsaw as an R&D researcher and developer. He works actively in EU RISE and RIA projects. Jakub is an engineer with a bachelor in environmental engineering and mechatronics. Bluesoft is the leader of Work Package 5 in the Smartship project. That is the customization and validation of the Smartship decision support and multi-layer optimization module. Jakub will give a short introduction of Bluesoft and his role there, and we will go into a conversation about details of Bluesoft participation in the Smartship project. Jakub Rola, welcome to the Smartship Podcast.
Hello, Isabel. How are you today?
Hi, good. Good to see you. Jakub, tell me a little about Bluesoft and how Bluesoft is engaging in research, especially in Smartship.
Bluesoft is a software house located mainly in Poland, but we have some structures in US and in the other part of Europe. We have over 1,000 employees and contractors in our deck, and we are mainly focused on providing the IT solution to the other companies. We are not having like main product that we sell to the open public. We are focused on providing the tailored solution to the other organizations like delivering companies, the shops, the government. We had a few contracts with the banking sector. I can't say names, but with a few of them in Poland, and even with the international banks as well. We are in the web development and cloud solution as well. And in 2019, we've been bought by the Orange Polska, the branch of the French Telecom in Poland. And from this time, we are more and more glued together. It's funny because the Bluesoft was founded on the first big contract that was won by our previous CEO. The big contract was to provide the Orange the solution. So it's like a big circle right now.
A big circle indeed.
Yeah. So I was hired in Bluesoft in 2019 when the Smartship started, and I was involved in many RISE and RIA projects founded by the European Union. And my role is to do some coding and provide the documentations and have explored the new markets from the Bluesoft. As you may know, the Warsaw and the Polish is not known from their great access to the sea. We have only the Baltic Sea and very small coastline. So we like the maritime sector was for us big unknown. So we took this opportunity to have a brief look, how we can implement our knowledge from different sectors to the maritime structure.
So that was an interesting experience then, right? Because maritime is different. It's just different.
Completely different and quite complicated and have lots of regulations. And it's very old, I think, sector, one of the oldest one.
Yes, indeed. All right, then let's jump right into the questions. Um, what are the what is the role and what are the responsibilities of Bluesoft within the Smartship project?
Um, we are one of the partners in the Smartship, and we didn't have um, like strict role. We are involved in many deliverables, and
Mm-hmm.
we help with the organization of the meetings. We produce some code. We help with optimization algorithms. We we try to showcase the Scrum methodology and how it can be implemented in managing of this kind of the RISE project. My personal responsibility was to design and describe the APIs of the components that were part of the Smartship like final product, or
Mm-hmm.
you can it can be say the product. It was part of the Danaos
Right.
solution, but we just created some few functionalities to be implemented in their product. I was helping with the front end development as well a little bit, and the deployment process as well.
All right.
And I was writing this kind of documentation in OpenAPI, formerly known as Swagger, and I was collaborating with the great scholars from CERC and Harakopio University. That was a great adventure and great pleasure to meet all of the people. I'm thanking because our project is finalizing right now, and I have this
Yes.
kind of opportunity and stage to thank all of the partners, and I can highly recommend it to collaboration with the Harakopio and Circle School from France, from Paris.
I can give that only. I can only give it back. Bluesoft was amazing. I was in secondment there, and if it wasn't, if the project wasn't ending, I'd be still in Warsaw.
Yeah, nice to hear it. Thank you very much.
Jakob, did you go in secondment actually?
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you go?
I was in Paris, but only 1 month, and I was in Athens for I don't know. Combined, it was up to 9 months.
Nice. Okay, yeah, could be worse. All right. Moving on. One um, one more question. Tell me a little about this Scrum and how it was used to develop the whole decision support and framework.
Um, yeah, the Scrum, as I mentioned previously, we try to implement it in the development process of the Smartship components.
Yeah.
And as the agile approach to the management is right very brightly known, I will not say the same to be very flexible in our approach. And this was quite challenging to customize Scrum methodology to the RISE project because,
Mm-hmm.
as many may know, this project is based on the grant agreement where there are strict dates,
Yeah.
and we have some obligation to the European Union Commission, and we have to deliver it on the time. But
Mm.
and on the bright side, the description what we have to deliver was very vague, and we can interpret it in our way that will be the fruit of the Scrum approach to the delivering this
Right.
document. So we, to be more technical, we have this approach to have a monthly meeting when we discuss what the deadline is approaching
Right.
and what each partner during their secondments have established, what was the knowledge exchange, and what we want to put in our final document that we have to showcase. So that was the standard procedure, but like 3 months before the deadline, we start working more rigorously, and we have like bi-weekly meetings and lots of email communication between the partner that were involved in some kind of very like specific area. For the tools that we used in our Scrum approach, we use the GitHub for the code repository, of course, and also we use this tool for issue tracking. So at the bottom of the emails, we also have this kind of the database or the logs of the issue that we have to resolve to delivering some components or to finalize the documents. So as I said, the Git and this kind of the versioning of the documents is very useful in many areas, not only if you are the coder, but also if you're working on in some of collaborations. It's really nice tools to learn. It's not so hard, and on the beginning it might be very intimidating, but after a few hours of using it, you will love it. I hope.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I
I
haven't
really
tried it,
recommend
but
it.
this is the best recommendation of the day then.
Of course,
Right.
it has their limitation because it's suited for the coders and working with the plain text almost, but you can use it in many different forms. Yeah, and it's really nice
Okay.
tool.
Good. Interesting. Let's. I'll have a look at this sometime when I can use it, but I'm not working with so many coders at the moment. So, just wanted to ask you about the extra, let's say, challenges that arose in the project. I guess one of them is this technical or adapting your normal systems to this consortium structure. And I guess the other one might have been the COVID situation, right? Because if you had something that is supposed to be planned and with deadlines, this changed everything, didn't it?
Yeah, the COVID was the travel restriction was with us for 2 years and at the
Right.
beginning of the project as well. And we have moved from almost everybody working from office to everybody was working from homes. And after the restriction was lifted, in the office there is like 10% of the employees working from office. So it was hard to convince someone to travel for a few months to the different country, especially when the restrictions were on. And after the lifting them, it was hard as well because they already working remotely all the time and they
Right.
move to the smaller cities and they want to travel a lot for the like business purposes. And the scheduling in the Smartship, thanks for the availability of the other partners, wasn't so hard. Everybody was attending the meetings, and it was, as I will repeat myself, it was a great pleasure to work with
Yes,
all of
that is
the
fast.
partners. And from the technical perspective, like from me, from the front-end developer perspective, uh, the plotting of the ship trajectory was quite challenging because not only you have lots of points and you have lots of different internet browsers
Mm-hmm.
and that have to look the same of every browsers, and there
Yes.
is different indices, and the JavaScript is, even if you are working with it for many years, you still get bamboozled by it. You never know the exact result of all your code, so it's challenging working
All right.
browsers
So
and JavaScript in the front end.
the visualization part was Java difficult then.
JavaScript difficulties, yeah.
Okay. Were
Like
there
it's
some?
always it's a joke language.
I see. Okay, now I think it's funny. What are some other challenges you encountered in the process?
Uh, I will not say that it was a challenge. That was that we had to like combine all of the components and integrated them. That was challenging, but as I said, we had a sets of the professionals and great scholars.
Yes.
The only problem was to schedule the meeting and establish okay, we have to do it in this way. Yeah, establishing the way of doing it and the deadline. But the work was pure pleasure because we agree on the approach, we agree on the tools, and it was just okay. Let's see it and try to do in the most simplistic way because the simplistic code and the simplistic approach will survive the longest.
So, yeah, yeah. I had also really good feedback from Mark from Epsilon. He said actually it's been accepted so much more than they expected in beforehand because the captains weren't completely sure if this one was going to be a helpful thing, but it seems to have a really good feedback. So somehow it worked. So I was curious about this evaluation process. You took part in that too, right? In the
Uh, yeah, it's hard to say for me. The evaluation is also always the thing that the developers hates, because there is like two parts. One is black and white, it works or not, and we are fine with that because we are writing tests, unit tests for it, and okay, we provide the functionalities that it's working, it's showing the root. But the second part of evaluation is how good this kind of interface graphics or in this interface is pleasant to eye, and if it's easy to navigate on it. And this is kind of the evaluation that we hate because everybody is individual, and forcing people to use it in the way that we planned, it's not so easy. And it's quite frustrating that someone is clicking something and doesn't read the instruction and doesn't read what, what is written on the page, and then we receive the feedback that this
it
shit
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work. And they say in my computer it's work, yeah, and everything is fine, but and then you get the score like 2 of 5 or 3 of 10,
Ouch.
and you're scratching your head, and how come this error? So yeah, the evaluation process also, as always, is necessary things because we need to have some kind of feedback. And the second part of evaluation is that the people don't have time to give the very thoughtful feedback. And
Mm.
you
So it's
should
difficult
use,
to assess
yeah, you
what
should
they
use
want.
some kind of the metrics that shows you that they are gathered in automated manner. Yeah, like the big companies like Facebook, Google use the time spent on the mouse position on some cursor. This is kind of like auto-generated evaluation process. But in the RISE project, we didn't have escape of it. So
Mm.
we just get the questionnaire and the face-to-face interviews with the captains. So it's a very like in idea of the evaluation of each product is very good, and we should perform it. But in this kind of the RISE project, I have mixed feelings about it, to be honest. And it's podcast, so I can say it loudly.
Yes. It's like a very good closing interview then.
Yeah.
Um, so moving on to the impact of the project, what would you say this project will enable? And I mean, in the maritime industry, if you can, even if you're not an industry expert, but also beyond, what is the impact of the Smartship project in your view?
Like in Poland, we have this saying, And if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans and predictions. So
Nice.
I don't like the making predictions and be filmed, but I'll give you some answer maybe. And
Yes.
this based on the history. As we know, in late 90s, the last century, there was the dot-com bubble, and everybody was, okay, internet is the next things. And it's been like 20 years till the pandemic hits, and we really feel that the internet is this thing, yeah, because you couldn't work and you couldn't do anything. You can't schedule your doctor visit. You couldn't schedule your visit in the government office without the internet access. You can go to the school even. Yeah, you have to link by Teams or I don't know, other online tools to be part of your like community and do anything. So it took us more than 20 years. So what I can predict in the next 20 years and the outcome of the Smartship is that the algorithm that was created by Kharkov University for optimization route might be read by some kind of the AI and be reused in the next, I don't know, tool for optimization of the robot flows on the streets, or maybe human
It's
the
another form of
gathering.
growth, right?
Yeah, so I think we should expect unexpectable. So I will not say that we will increase the fuel efficiency of on the ships, because I'm not expert in the maritime sector, and I think we we can expect unseeable things after the AI revolution that are right now on our eyes. So some kind of this I hope the work of the university scholars will give us better life in the future with using of the modeling languages and increase of the AI utilization in our daily life.
Jacob, you've just finished on a really philosophical point. Expect the unexpected.
Ah, I'm a
So,
little bit tired and under the sleep schedule, so
no, it is a wonderful roundup to finish up our interview. I mean, it's all the time we have now. And I thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And I hope you can have a good rest after the travels. Thank you
thank you,
again for your
Isabel.
time.
It was a pleasure
Bye,
to have an
Jacob.
interview with you, and I wish you the best. And
You too. You too. All the best. See you soon. Who knows? Ciao.
who knows?
Ciao.
Ciao.
Our second guest is none other than Mark Benazontas, the CTO of the Epsilon Group. Epsilon is the leader of Work Package 6 in the Smartship project, that is the integrated Smartship framework, validation, and piloting. Mark is a civil engineer and CTO at the Epsilon Group and is in charge of research and development programs. Mark is responsible for coordinating international projects, heading of Horizon 2020, monitoring and guidance of space and aviation. Mark has a vast experience in teaching and research. He's in charge of European Commission RTD projects in the sectors of water resources, environment, envirosystems, and enviromatics via operations research, technologies, mathematical models, and geoinformation projects for the coordination between Epsilon subsidiaries. Mark holds a PhD in water management engineering from Technical University Munich and postdoctoral studies in environmental systems and policy at MIT and Harvard University, respectively. Mark is the CTO of Epsilon Group. Established in 1991 in Athens, Epsilon is a technology resources and engineering consulting group with expertise in aerospace, shipping, geoinformatics, and space, water and environment management. The group has well-built links with foremost technology organizations and research centers and delivers engineering consulting training and state of technology products via RTD in its sectors of expertise. Mark Bonasuntas, welcome to the Smartship Podcast.
Thank you, Isabel. It's a pleasure being at this communication with you and the podcast.
Thank you so much. Then let's jump right in. As a partner of the Smartship project, what are your main activities and responsibilities in Epsilon?
As Epsilon, we are engaged in 4 or 5 sectors, among them environment, geomatics, maritime, and aviation, and also other related activities on software development related to those. So in this project, we have been also initiators of the project, is our engagement in multiple functions of the project, which means the comprehensive design, the monitoring, the follow-up, and also the packaging of the results of the overall project. So the main activities have been multiple, and the key one has to be the summary of the results as they have to go to the market and to the maritime industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, Tell me a little about the integrated framework and what has been the role of validation and piloting within the Smartship
Mhm,
project.
mhm. Smart ship is a wide system that aims to make the shipping industry more efficient in terms of emissions, more cost effective in terms of saving fuels, and more environmental in terms of circular economy when you do rehabilitation. In this aspect, this industry requires to collect data from the ship, collect data from the environment, package this data, apply algorithms, and then come up with optimal solution on navigation, which means when a ship leaves Shanghai to come to Hamburg, for example, what is the best route, the optimal route, the quickest route, the most saving energy efficiency route. So these have been the key components of the project that we had to integrate into one system that contains the IoT, the sensors, the data storage, where the data comes in, weather routing, and user visualization, because the ship owners and the shipping industry like images and pictures rather than numbers to make decisions.
I see. So it's a decision support system, right? Meaning the captains normally do take these decisions, and the Smartship results are supposed to help them navigate this.
Exactly, this is a decision support system. In the old times, not too many years ago, say 10 years ago, the captain was drawing on a map the route, was obtaining information from different sources or from headquarters on weather or needs, bunkering, and so on, and was deciding at once from A to Z. Meanwhile, in these years, the European Commission has established the single window. Single window is when the captain or a vessel leaves a port, reports to the single window, and this single window out of Brussels or EMSA, the maritime agency in Portugal, reports to the individual ports and bunkers that this ship is coming, which was
Mhm.
not the case. Given now that there are steps of moving from port to port or from station to station, bunkering to bunkering, there is now possibility to optimize this route based on forecasted weather conditions, forecasted needs, and from one port to another to have a decision support system that decides when to leave and how to navigate.
I see.
How,
Mhm.
how navigate means, for example, the speed. Will it navigate at 12 knots or 8 knots, as they call it, slow steaming? Because slow steaming has less emissions, but it arrives a bit later. But it may be in the benefit of the ship owner to arrive later, to capture another lease or another contract, or to go faster, consume more energy, and capture the new contract.
I get it.
So
How has been the feedback from the captains from the industry?
this is a wonderful question. The captains are usually of these tankers and big vessels are of the age of 50 to 55, and some of them even older, because they have the experience of the sea. The sea
Mhm.
is the seamen need experience. It's not like the young people with information technology. Those people who are now in the 60s were not reluctant, but were skeptical in adopting decisions that the system made rather than their own feelings. But as we
Mhm.
progress in the years, and we have seen that with information and artificial intelligence, I'll give an example later on, captains have adjusted now, and they do like the new ships are equipped with information technology and systems, satellite, and so on, that facilitate the captain to understand and accept. I'll give a
Wow.
little an example. Prior to the COVID or to the last 6, 7 years, there were companies delivering software how to navigate and what the route will be, the exact route. Today, there is no need for that. With ChatGPT, you can insert some information on your vessel, and by retrieving data that is needed, waves, winds, other conditions, and the performance of the vessel, ChatGPT can give you the route, which did not exist 5 years ago.
Wow. But it wouldn't be such a perfect solution, right? If you would just type it in ChatGPT.
The word perfect solution is difficult to use in the era of ChatGPT or in the era of artificial intelligence. I have to
Fair.
tell you that Hopkins, the famous astronomist, was the
Mhm.
first one who forecasted artificial intelligence to be a means in the years to come. And recent videos and sciences results prove that he was right. In a sense, the artificial intelligence, machine learning, will alter the way we work. This is de facto. So the new generations have to change the way they think. And this is a positive step rather than negative step. Of course, Hawkins said that AI will destroy the world if it's not well controlled. This is not the case. It will not happen. Since we will continue to live a nice world, as we accepted the internet, now we accept AI.
Right, I get it. Just one last point on this. It might not destroy the world, but do we need captains? Then, if we have ChatGTP, we could basically program everything.
The captain is a button user. He has a screen and he's a clicker. He clicks. He does not know how it works. It's like clicking on when you use the Word or the Excel or this software of Microsoft. It's a clickologist. So he presses the button and gets the results. Whether these results have been produced with AI, machine learning, and other techniques, it's immaterial for him, and he does not have to know.
Okay, fair enough. Wow, it's a really
So
interesting perspective.
But you also have to know that the shipping and maritime industry is under pressure by year 2050 to reduce its emissions by greenhouse gas emissions by
Mhm.
50%. So this is a dramatic drawback. And also now there are discussions on having to reduce the noise by 50% to protect mammals in the sea. So this reduction
Wow.
requires substantial technological developments, a lot of costs for the ships to become modern and be safe, and this can be done by using these technologies.
Okay, that's a really great perspective. Thank you, Mark.
Mm.
Moving on. Um, from your perspective on the project, what would you say were the most critical elements that have to be considered for implementing the activities?
There are elements of technology, there are regulatory and legal elements,
Mhm.
and there are also human factors. I would put the human factors up front because without humans, you cannot control the technology. So there are three human factors. The one is the education of the stakeholders and the
Mhm.
people who are engaged in the system. The second parameter in human factors is the education of the captains, of the ship owners, and the people to work together and understand with technologies what the benefits are. This is the human aspects of this. If we do not have a good cooperation and linkage between technologists and operators, it will be difficult.
Mhm.
The second is the regulatory aspects. In the aviation sector, it takes 10 years to certify a product or certify a procedure, even more with the FAA, but it's in the air and the risks are high. In the maritime sector, it's much quicker. So it now depends how much people can absorb and can adjust to the regulations of the IMO. On the other side, there is a how should I say, a pressure in the IMO to come up with new technologies, and there is a pressure from the ship owners not to come up on the new technologies because it costs. But
Right.
with the energy crisis that we see now, lots of industries have adjusted to the need to reduce energy consumption, fuel, and as a result, we gain in environmental protection. So it is going in a positive way from the human aspects. Technologically, it's solved. The problems today are solved technologically, especially in
Right.
the maritime. It's a traditional old sector. The automotive industry is quicker than the maritime industry.
I see. So, but from what you're saying, I can hear that the incentives in terms of cost of for energy and regulation are kind of aligned, right?
The incentives are only cost of savings because a ship owner or a shipping company wouldn't care less for the environmental protection or regulations in a broader sense. If you ask a ship owner to put money in his pocket, from his pocket, to for a better environment, he will not do so. So there are two
Mm,
items: how much money he saves based on energy costs. That's why
right.
now we have engines of dual fuels. So not only heavy oil, but we have now ammonia. We are talking about LNG, LPG, and so on. That is less costly. That's one. And the other item is how the IMO, which is basically the organization that controls these regulations, is willing to press to achieve. I think in the last 3, 4, 5 years, given also the shortage in energy from Ukraine and so on, we have seen now shipping industry is adjusting to better fuels, less cost, and better environment.
Okay. Well, so for the next question, I'd be interested in your perspective, your overview of what the achieved results for Smartship were.
The Smartship is among the few projects that tackles all the aspects, which means the technical aspects in having sensors, databases, user visualization, so on. The way that people cooperate together. It has a system that helps the captain and the people to work together in implementing the system, and has also demonstrated in 4 case studies or pilots or demonstrators that it works to having these optimized technologies.
Okay. Um, I don't have a real sense of how much energy emissions are actually saved by, let's say, for one trip in with um, uh, this project.
The maritime industry is polluting only less than 4% of the total greenhouse gas emissions.
Right.
So this is minor. It's not that much. But on the other side, maritime is a wealthy, call it, industry. And if we can save from every industry a bit, it makes a sense. It makes a difference. So even if we employ now these difficult and costly technologies, the result will be not dramatic in savings,
Mm-hmm.
but overall it will be a good way forward.
It's an
It,
addition.
in
Mm-hmm.
addition, we see that also with the automotive car industry. They decided, or the European Commission abolished or decided to abolish the diesel cars by 2030, if I'm not mistaken. Now they have relaxed this regulation because of economic stresses.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the maritime industry is not so stressed like the automotive industry and well accepts the uh, emission control that is imposed either with scrubbers or other technologies, because bottom line, the cost is transferred to the consumer.
Yeah,
So
it's
now,
very
if
transferable. Yeah.
it goes directly to the consumer, so the maritime industry is not impacted by the cost. The consumer is impacted by the cost. Whereas in the automotive industry, the consumer is directly impacted by the cost. If you buy a car diesel, it consumes less, and if you buy a hybrid, it costs more. But well, this does not exist in the maritime. The
Hmm.
cost is transferred to the containers, call it this way.
Right. Yeah. TU price would just change depending on the energy cost, basically, right?
Depending on the energy cost, is the fare or the lease between big trips from that are again the cost of the energy is transferred to the transposed to the container, call it this way, to the goods that
Yeah.
are transported.
Yeah. I remember when I was working at Maersk, we had one time when the prices for energy went high up, and it was so they didn't transfer the price directly to the container, but they had an extra energy fee. So it was
Exactly.
basically relatively easy to transfer to the customers.
Frankly speaking, the maritime stakeholders and industry must be pleased to have these restrictions because they
True.
invest and it costs, and they automatically they transfer it to the consumer. When it comes to technologies implementation, is not so easy to transfer it to the consumer. But
So
when it
true.
comes to direct cost, like the barrel from 80 euro can go to 120 euro, this is transferred directly.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. One last question. Um, um, I'd be interested in hearing about what you think the impact of this project and projects like this are going to be. What can they enable within the industry, and I think beyond the industry, because I think also this decision support system are actually ubiquitous now.
Mhm. The decision support system and these high-tech technologies are new to say that they have an impact.
All right.
In 5 years ago, they were considered just the science by the maritime industry to look at it and investigate what people do, what the
Mhm.
academia do, but not to implement them. Recently, after the COVID, there is a clear understanding that they contribute. They do contribute because the cost for a trip from the east to Europe, 50% of the cost is energy, is fuel. So even if they can save 100 tons, whatever fuel, it's cost to them. Of course, because it's transferred again to the consumer, it's not directly applied. But nevertheless, it is something that they can afford. And I believe because they can afford it, and because the new generations in the shipping and maritime, their sons and the children and so on, are in the information era, it will get well accepted in the years to come, including the our project, the Smartship.
I get it. It's also competitive edge if you kind of can offer better prices because you're more
It
efficient.
is, yeah. You have to know that the individual shipping companies, each one has its own department for R&D. Usually
Mhm.
they do not
Oh, yeah.
go and buy, but what they do lately that we have seen is they do participate in European Commission or other countries' projects, and they benefit from the results of those projects. They do not go out to buy services from individual companies, rather they benefit by participating and adjusting their own systems.
Okay, yeah, that's actually very efficient investment
Yes,
in energy.
it is indeed.
Get it. Thank you very much, Mark. I think this has been a wonderful conversation and really enlightening.
Thank you,
Um,
Isabel.
Thank you for everything. And yes, have a great day. Thank you so
Thank you, you
much,
too.
Mark.
Have,
Bye.
have a wonderful time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. This is all for today. This has been the third episode of the Smartship Podcast. Thank you for watching and goodbye.